It's 11:59 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
All right, welcome everybody. Krabby Turtle's joining us here. Sorry about the confusion here. I went live in the wrong studio, I guess, and bumped a bad version of the show out. So I'll have to clean that up later. But I learned a new pitfall with this platform that I broadcast on. Not digging it. Wasted a bunch of time and effort there and running half an hour late now. So I don't know if Krabby Turtle's still out there, but thanks for joining us before the show got started. Actually, right when the show was supposed to be getting started. Nobody's out there now, so let's see. No, I've got anybody listening now, so I don't know what happened. Are we still connected? I think we are. But I don't know why the thing won't tell me. It's kind of flickering on who's connected or not, but nobody's saying anything, so I'm guessing nothing's connected right now. But we're going to go ahead and dig into the show anyway. We start the show off here with taking a look back at the week in what's going on with Second Amendment. I posted something over on the, what's that thing called? On the Substack. So there's something over on the Substack for you if you want to check this out in a written way or get it in a newsletter. Let me go ahead and zoom in on all this so that everybody can see it a little easier, hopefully, on the screen. Well, we're taking a look at my history here, my watch history over on the YouTube. I find that's the quickest way lately to be doing this type of show where we look back at what's been going on this week. The idea is to use the history here on YouTube as a reminder of what's been going on. All right, so I think I can switch this over a little bit. Now, if I move this way over, I'll be able to see if anybody says anything. But let's see who's joining us. Well, there's people on YouTube, but nobody's saying anything tonight. All right, so that's probably the last show that was on, or maybe it's this show. I don't know. But like I say, something happened. Got the shows all mixed up today. Well, something didn't happen. The studios over here, evidently, it matters which studio you set the show up in, I guess. And I didn't realize I was in a studio from a show I did kind of impromptu the other day. I don't know if we'll talk about that one or not. I think we will. Anyway, so that's tonight's show. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. It's June 6th. Got a lot of stuff going on with 2A, and we posted a couple of articles over on Substack, and, we've got some stuff that people are already signing off on or writing off and saying that it's too bad couldn't have happened, but it hasn't even happened yet. We only have to talk to senators. So good time to exercise the muscle of talking to Congress people. Pays off when we do it. So let's see if people do it. Well, let's see. We have Edgar from Guns for Everyone doing walking around and filming. It's a pretty interesting way to do it. You get to kind of see a different type of video, and when you're walking around, at least from when I'm walking around, I'm usually bored. Things come through in your head, ideas and thoughts and stuff. So it'd be interesting to try to go live while you're walking around. I don't think I'd want to do it. I don't know if I've tried it or not. I think I might have tried it. Could try it in the future, though. I now have some internet that I could do that with. Let's see. Then we have, is this last week's? That's probably last week's show. It must have been, I don't know what I was looking at it for. Probably just showed up on a screen somewhere. histories are weird on YouTube. They're going to show you everything, not just the stuff you watched. So let's see. This was an audio version of a prior Walk the Talk America podcast. So I guess when they post their audio version, it gets duplicated on the YouTube. That happens to mine too. So that probably is a function of some of the services that we use for podcast hosting and scheduling. She Fires posted a short video this week. Then we have Ironclad posting another update about the CJNG and kind of just a brief description of them, really, in about half an hour. Each of the cartels is a little different. Each of the cartels started in Mexico are each a little bit different. Some of them started before the drug trade, and then the drug trade created and forged a group of them, and then their existence created and forged the next generation. And that's basically what they're talking about here, is the cartel new generation. So one of the projects I've been working on is some with having to do with the robots, the AI type of stuff, and spent some time working not 100% towards this goal, but I needed to work on a project to do something else. So as a I guess just call it a project, as a way to test, as a testing platform, I started putting together a AI model for Minuteman University that uses the information at Minuteman University, and did really well. So I'm trying to do something else with the AI, but again, I have to practice, and this was a great way to practice. Once I get done doing my other project that'll pay some bills, I'll circle around and complete this robot for Minuteman University. And that should be an interesting addition to the website, and I think it might be the first 2A focused AI robot out there that's not just using the standard models, but using what would the word curated content that we've created ourselves, focused on 2A, the people, the projects, the events, the laws, and the conversations. And that's what I'm really looking forward to. Is once right now, Minuteman University is not built all the way. It's two big pieces, and only one piece is really partially built. It's not complete. Once that part's complete, that's still only half the work. The other half of the work is actually a lot tougher, but the robots will probably help with building the other half of it once it gets to that point. So I have no idea what the end time is on this, but I do know the beginning of it, and that was the other day when I figured out how to make this happen, and we went live and talked about it a little bit. Let's see, Walk Talk America went live a couple of times this week, in addition to this podcast that they posted, which was probably live weeks ago. I missed that one. But this one is just a conversation that Kevin and Michael had about the FBI data that came out from 2024. And incidents are going down, which is good. And, talking about that fact, but then how do we use that information for more effective conversations with ourselves and with those people that hate our rights and our property right? I don't know why this one's in here. It's a video from the gear side. We do make gear videos if you want to go check them out. Let's see, firearms. So this is a short. I started using a robot to rip apart longer videos and turn them into shorts. So you may or may not have seen a bunch of shorts. They're all robot made. Let me know what you think. Ed's Manifesto. Been doing a series with Eddie from Tactical Solutions in California. Dude's been a big patch reseller. He buys and creates patches, and then he's had our patches in his inventory for a long time. Goes to a lot of gun shows. He's from California, so he goes to the Arizona gun shows, Utah, others. So cool dude. And hangs out with Ed's Manifesto. They've been partnering up and doing some products along as well as the classes and stuff that Ed does. Listening to some of the people talk about the situation with the Supreme Court. I'm sure by now everyone's heard, but the Supreme Court decided not to take two cases that we as a community would have hoped they would have taken and ruled our way. The fact that they didn't is leaving a lot of people to either get all mopey, sad, or angry, or come up with theories of how this is a good thing and how it's 4D chess or something, or that they needed to do this so that they could do that type of thing. Depends on who you listen to, and that'd be an interesting poll question: is are you hearing a majority positive or a majority negative about the situation with the Supreme Court's decision? We get a little bit suspect as a community, we get a little bit of the take it for granted. We assume that the Supreme Court's always going to rule our way because we're correct, because we're on the side of individual rights and freedom. However, I don't know, the Supreme Court's a bunch of people, but they can have opinions or whatever, but it's also the way things are written and the timing of things. So I don't think we should depend on the Supreme Court, just like we shouldn't depend on lawsuits, just like we shouldn't depend on the national level organizations. We shouldn't depend on somebody else ever, right? We should always be able to accomplish some things. I'm not seeing any comments, so I'm assuming they're broken, or everybody that's out there is a hater, because tons of people listening. I got a little number here that shows me how many people are listening on each platform, but 0 comments are coming in. Krabby Turtle's comment earlier was the only comment. I do have a poll going for how was this week for 2A. So if you want to participate in the poll, even though you're scared to comment, you are allowed to participate in the poll. I know other people would charge you to participate in the poll or charge you to comment. We don't charge you to comment. You do not have to super chat here. Let's see. Then we get to, I don't know why. Oh, I got Rapid Fire Radio. I missed that one. I got to listen. Did I listen to all of Toby's shows this week? I think I did. So that's pretty neat. He does a show on Sunday, an hour-long show on the radio. Then on Tuesday, I haven't listened to the 2A Tuesday segment in a long time, but that is super short now. I guess the Grace Curley show has gotten shorter than it was back in the old days. So Toby's segment is drastically reduced. However, it is cool that she still sets aside a moment or two for Toby to come on and address Second Amendment issues that come up in the news, considering they come up in the news quite a bit. And in Massachusetts, they come up even more than normal, or at least more than they do in the rest of the United States. So that was an interesting one. And then, of course, on Wednesday, this is probably this one, the 2-hour show. Toby had a couple of different guests on talking about the Supreme Court. What do you know? Then for some reason I looked at my own shows again, probably posting everything. Then we've got a couple of videos that I made shorts with. In addition to some big long shows, I took some of the Saturday shows with Tony, and I took one of these weekly wrap-ups and chopped them into shorts, or had the robot do it. And then did the same with some of the videos from YouTube. And really, it's just to help keep some of these videos alive. I don't really bitch about it because it's inevitable, I think, at this point. But pretty much every time I open up my email, which is more than one time a day, but every day I open up my email, there's a message in there telling me that YouTube has removed one of my videos or reduced the rating on it or something. And once they reduce the rating on it, they might as well throw the video or make it private, because their system won't show it to anybody anymore. And we know they're not really showing that many videos anyway, but they're definitely not showing anything with the machine gun in it or anything that takes apart guns. I've lost track of all the things they've decided to take down. So I figured, since some of my videos aren't taken down yet, I might as well make shorts out of them using that. I paid for a year of that software that chops them up. So you're going to see all kinds of different shorts jumping around. Again, feel free to comment on them, give us some feedback on them. I'm not doing shorts like some channels, trying to make my channel grow. I could care less. I'm just doing it to kind of chop up and reuse some of those videos, since probably some people don't go back and watch old videos. And we used to do, well, we were one of the first gun channels, so we got quite a few gun videos, something like 3,000 videos altogether. For sure, a lot of those in about 2012 on are pretty much live. But from before 2012, we probably had 3,000 videos that were just gun reviews and conversations with gun people. Did a lot of interviews. Traveled since 2005, driving around, went to dozens of classes, and then tons of factory tours and things like that. So I'm going to go through, recycle some of those and chop them into shorts, let the robots kind of just chop them up and throw them around on the calendar. Let's see. Hillbilly does a show on Saturdays. He also does a show for members only, and that's a secret. You're not supposed to know about it. A couple of channels do member-only shows. You only know about them if you're a member. They might talk about them, but you'll only be able to attend those shows if you're a member. It's one of the features of YouTube, I guess, is you can, maybe I accidentally set this up to members only so nobody can chat because it's locked. Is it locked or something? Somebody will have to text me if it's locked or something. Let's see, I found this. I don't know where this came from. I think YouTube just recommended it to me. But somebody took one of those 3-barrel Chiapas and chopped it all down. It's an NFA, but it's pretty neat. Would you want a tri-barrel sawed off that short? I like them because of the Road Warrior, but I don't know if I mean, not the 3-barrel. He didn't have a 3-barrel. He had a double barrel. But after shooting them and being around them, they're not all that great. I kind of want one just to have one, but they're not all that great. Let's see. Then we've got the Gun & Gear Review podcast. Tony and the other guys do a show every Tuesday. Talk about gear, and every once in a while an event or some kind of place that they went. Uh-oh. My computer acting funny again. Did pretty good here for the first 17 minutes, and now it's starting to get glitchy. I think it might be a factor of heat. It's pretty hot here. 92 degrees inside the house. Let's see. So then we get to Toby's Grace Curley show. As you can see, he kept it going for an hour, even though the Grace Curley part of it was not that long. Then we get to the, what do they call this? Locked, Cocked, and Unfiltered. These are 3 firearms instructors that get together on, well, I think they batch their shows. I don't know. And I think Tony said they record them a couple times a month, but pretty much every week they come out with another conversation, and this time it's with Michael Sedini from Walk Talk America. And I was just thinking about this as I was putting everything together today. I can't say that I've seen everything that Mike has done. I certainly saw a lot of the beginning stuff, that original stuff, maybe even all of the original stuff. And then over the years, good 80% of what they post I'm paying attention to, because it's either interesting or insightful, or it's some angle or some perspective that I have not seen before, and I value that. I don't always agree with whatever the perspective is, but I value being exposed to different, ways of thinking about the stuff that we can take for granted sometimes, or the stuff that we just assume, guns and all that kind of stuff. But in this conversation, these are guys that know Mike and have known him for a while, so they have a different conversation than some of the more recent ones, which are kind of down to, topics or maybe an event that they attended, Q&A and stuff. This was not just palling around. I mean, they did have a lot of fun in this conversation. Like I say, they know each other. But they talked about a lot of stuff that I didn't know about. And since Mike's been, what would you say, like present at these different events that the medical community puts together, which tend to be anti, he's got a much more insightful way of looking at just things in general, because he comes from so many of these medical events. I'm assuming it's the medical nature of them that just gives them a, not really professional, but maybe clinical, the ability to talk very accurately. And I find that to be very interesting, very useful, I suspect. This will drive me nuts. How can we have a whole show with absolutely no comments at all. I gotta go look and see if that's happening just on this streaming platform or if that's happening on YouTube as well. Walmart? What? How do I find my own video? Come on. Here it is. Video. Come on. And the answer is, yeah, nobody's here. So nobody's chatting. I thought maybe it was a glitch or something, but nope. So that's creepy. It's like doing something in front of a bunch of people that are just standing there without any reaction. So I'll just assume everyone's an enemy. And we'll keep going. So then we got what happened on Monday. So we're pretty much all the way back to the beginning of the week. Some more shorts. Put up one of the Ninja Glock shorts. I don't know if people have seen Ninja Glocks in a while. Put up the Medusa. Chop that into shorts. Let's see. Then we got Roll Call. Talking about changes in the Indiana gun laws. He really just complains and bitches a lot of the time. But good to see people who aren't necessarily just doing the clinical stuff or just putting stuff up for the clicks. So you don't know, you can't know the whole picture until you get the everybody's opinion on it, I think. Krabby saying quiet week for 2A? I don't think so. Just quiet week, quiet evening for this show. I'm assuming the audio works. Are you telling me that the audio don't work? Are you hearing audio? No, I heard audio when I flipped over to it. So let's see. Gun Club Radio went live. Very clickbaity thumbnails. I don't know if that's working for him or not. But did he even talk about that? I think he did talk a little bit about that gun. Then we got Gun Owners Radio. They go live on Sundays, and they chop up their... Oh, thanks for the feedback. They chop up their podcast, I guess you call it, to smaller segments, and that's what this one is. So I don't know about you, but I'll take a second here to mention that, the way the internet works is it's not magic. There's no, person watching over the internet who decides stuff. The internet is just a bunch of, it's like just a bunch of math. So there's a bunch of equations, and if this, then that type of stuff happens. So if something gets a lot of clicks, then the systems decide that must be interesting. Let's show it to more people. So that means that we as individuals who are using the internet, who are interacting with the internet, can either just view stuff, we can view and react, like give it a thumb up or whatever, but we can also interact. And in addition to just reacting, and then with interacting, we can comment and we can take that link and we can share it on other platforms and with other conversations and with other people. And that act of clicking and sharing on other platforms and with other conversations creates more and more instances of whatever that original thing was. Now, that's how that is viral. That's how virality happens. That's that's how the internet works. So a lot of times that happens once or twice or 0 times, and that's most stuff. And every once in a while, something hits the right chord or hits the right, just falls in the right place at the right time, and boom, a lot of people share it, and that's when something goes viral. So we're not delusional. We're not going to try to make things go viral. However, be real. Like you are on the internet and you are using the internet, right? You can either intentionally use the internet or just let the internet happen. And that's what I'm urging you to do, is use the internet intentionally, sharing things that are of value to you, like Gun Owners Radio, for example, an organization that's working to create awareness and multiple vectors of activism. They've won the local Second Amendment Group of the Year I think more than once, and rightfully so. They're a innovative group, and if you want to, help them out in a way that isn't, just capitalist by sending them money or paying for something, you can just click on their video, click on their whatever share link, and then share it. And people say that because it's habit, but the reason it got to be habit is because it's legit. Like, it's an actual action that will have beneficial value. So take a time to talk about that because it's of value. Like, in the things that you value, you can ensure that, or help ensure at least, that they stick around, or they get louder, or they get bigger. Speaking of California, we got Mike White out there. Welcome. Hopefully we're not too late for you. Let's see. Then we've got the armed attorneys out of Texas again. Again, more commentary. I think this was one of their lives. No, I think this is just them answering questions. Of all the lawyers, they're the ones that keep my attention the longest. I'm not saying that any of these are, mind-blowing or record or breaking or anything, but they're interesting, they're entertaining, and I believe they're fairly accurate. They haven't really bothered me with the whole clickbait, but they're getting pretty close to bordering on clickbait. But everybody's got to make thumbnail. Well, everybody defaults to the idea that they need to make thumbnails like this. I don't necessarily agree. Look at the American Espresso Association. Their thumbnail is just conservative, classic, just offering information. I think if there's something of value, then people don't need to be conned into clicking on it. That's my opinion. So anyway, this is the American Espresso Association reposting a conversation they had with Ava, one of Dragon Man's daughters, who does a podcast, and the majority of it, they were talking about the American Espresso Association, and then specifically about the Hearing Protection Act, and it's I don't know where it's at and what can be done about it. It's a 45-minute conversation. Of all the ones I've listened to from American Espresso Association, I'd say it's a good one. It goes over a bunch of things and then addresses all the current stuff. This was just a quick one with Armed Atlas. Then we've got another one from Four Boxes Diner. This is him talking about how they denied the cases. Yeah, my computer's acting real glitchy now. I'm moving my mouse, but you can see it's being really weird about scrolling. Over here, what looks like it could be screwing with an American flag is actually not quite an American flag. It's more like the flag of the colonies or something. But that's the United States shooting. So NRA and the Olympics are USA shooting. And I think the way that it works is you have to do all these different competitions throughout the year and around the world to gain whatever standing to participate in the Olympics. And this was the national championships for shotgun. So they did this over the weekend, and it's one of these things where they went live, and the show was live, but they would just pause it in between sessions or in between shoots, and then they would go live, and there'd be commentators like any sporting event. Pretty interesting. However, they weren't really paying. They were saying they were paying attention to the comments, and they answered a question or two, but they weren't really paying attention to the comments. And that's just a factor of nobody shows up to these things when they're live. But I'm glad that they're doing them, so I'm not bitching. I'd rather see these things live and no one shows up to them, so that people start to realize it's an option rather than not even having it as an option. And I learned a little bit about the international shotgun shooting, which I typically do because I don't shoot international and I don't pay attention to it. So whenever I see it, it's new to me. But they were shooting bunkers, international bunker. I think it's trap. It says trap on here, but they didn't really call it trap. They called it bunker. Clover's over here showing off a bunch of his guns. So he's got a bunch of 22s, believe it or not, that he was going through. Looks like 8 of them. Were their shorts? And I think this one was my favorite short, and I thought that the robot did a really good job of pulling this one out, so I'm going to go ahead and just play it since it's, well, it's copyrighted.
The phone number, because phone calls matter.
Phone calls matter. This is a representative in Congress. Represents, what do you say, 750,000 people?
You may think they don't, but in my office, there might be days where I only get 3 phone calls, and I represent 750,000 people.
And of all the Congress people, wouldn't you think this guy who's in the news constantly, controversial, takes opinions on stuff, of everybody who's getting phone calls, wouldn't you think that this guy would be one of the people getting the phone calls? 3 phone calls a day, occasionally.
Because phone calls matter. You may think they don't, but in my office, there might be days where I only get 3 phone calls, and I represent 750,000 people. And
I think that's from a GOA video. Hopefully they're not going to sue me for keep playing that. But I really think that's interesting that, again, congressman at that level who's in the news almost constantly for, not going along with the spending and all this stuff. You think that a controversial conservative congressperson would get just slammed with phone calls all the time. And I don't know where that comes from. Maybe because we watch movies and campaign offices always seem to have busy people running around with phones off the hook. Of course, that's a movie, and they're trying to make politicians seem like they're somehow super popular, capable, business type people who are able to juggle all kinds of things and keep so many people happy. But in reality, they're probably just standing around a bunch of times waiting. I can't even imagine wanting to be a congressperson. But anyway, calling them for the Hearing Protection Act, ultimately important. Calling them for the Short Act, even more so, right? What's more important, getting the Short Act back on this spending bullshit, or getting the keeping the full Hearing Protection Act? Wrong answer. Both is the only answer, and that's 1 or 2 phone calls, maybe 4 phone calls if you called each congressperson that you have 2 for each issue. 2. That'd be 4 phone calls. If you did those 4 phone calls on a regular basis, occasionally, repetitively, then 32 phone calls. Hey, if it's too much, if suppressors being off the NFA aren't worth 32 phone calls, I hear you. That's so difficult to make 34 phone calls or 32 phone calls. Somebody else should really do that for you. Let's see. Then we have the actual Gun Owners Radio, which is San Diego Gun Owners, and I think they have the full crew there. Hopefully, is there some way we can sign a petition to have them go live again? I don't know if it's a technical thing. I suspect it was a technical thing because they had issues once in a while. But the amount of people that show up, I don't think they realize that they get more people that are real showing up to their conversation every Sunday than anything else in 2A. Obviously, the giant bullshit is going to get a lot of views when bullshit is going on. The bullshit focusers, the people that only ever exploit the conversations, they're going to get massive views, but their massive views are either motivated or not. I think the San Diego Gun Owners has a real opportunity because of their size and their diversity in messaging, or their spectrum of messaging, that they have a real potential to get through to people who are undecided. Anyway, if you want to check them out, it's on Sunday evenings. I should say evenings, because for us it's 4 or 5? I always miss it. I always think it's supposed to be 6, but it's 4 or 5, I think. But for the rest of the country, out east, in those time zones, it's probably in the evening for you, 7 or 8. Let's see, one of the Discord groups I'm in posted this. I don't know how many times you're going to see suppressors made out of clear. Maybe once every couple of years they're going to do it. I guess, it depends on how fast our attention span, fades. or how fast the community transitions or cycles through. I don't know how many gun owners stick around being gun owners, or how many gun owners enjoy being gun owners to the point where they get interested in this kind of nerdy stuff. But I think a lot of the gun owners that we have on the books bought their gun, they put it in a drawer or whatever, and they don't think about it. They might go, yeah, I'm a gun owner. I do own a gun. But they're not running around worried about stuff like this. And what we are looking at is the people that are interested in this stuff. I mean, why would you watch stuff from a few years ago? No one would. So why would you know that this stuff was happening a few years ago? Anyway, it's interesting to some extent. Interesting not because of what's going on inside the can, because this is not the first time someone's done this, but interesting to see the phenomenon happening yet again in the cycle, and paying attention to the people who are seeing it, I guess, for the first time. It's not bothering anybody that there's a full cartridge sitting right here. That looks like a full cartridge, so what's up with that? I guess they needed to Photoshop in something, so I decided let's put the whole entire cartridge in there and not just the projectile. I don't know. Maybe they addressed that in the video. But the USA shooting had a whole weekend of stuff. So I think this one was probably the girls, and this one was the guys, or vice versa. I forget. But they were all trap, I think. A couple hours each, though, so 4 hours. Again, that's probably, out of that 4 hours, it might be an hour and a half or 2 hours worth of actual shooting. There's a lot of time in between where they're cycling stuff and resetting or whatever they do. Another one from Four Boxes Diner. Tosses Anti-Gun. I don't know what this one was. I honestly don't even remember that one. So probably watched it. I might have watched it while I was pushing these videos through the chopper. So these are the videos that I jammed into the short chopper, the robot that chops them up and turns them into shorts. Oh, come on. Eventually it'll scroll down. So we got the Soup Can Uzi. Not the original. This was one that I did years later. I remember doing that one. That was right at the end of me doing videos. I was getting sick of doing videos, so I remember doing that one. But then the Bren 10 one from back in the old days, and that Mac 10 one from back in the old days. Short videos, but chopped them up into shorts, so people can check those out. Bren 10, of course, 10 millimeter. The 1 centimeter. Oh, and then I guess I chopped up the original Ninja Clock. And then we got Toby doing his Sunday show. So somewhere in here it would have said Sunday. Got Bows for Bucks doing a top 5 hunting cartridges video. On Saturday night, so tomorrow night, depending on when you're listening to this, on Saturday nights, overnight, you got the Overnight Mouse Party. 30 episodes deep after rebranding to the Overnight Mouse Party. Used to be an overnight and a mouse party. On 2 different nights, and now they're together. So if you're one of those folks who's up in the middle of the night shift, third shift, whatever you want to call people that do all the stuff that gets overlooked and neglected and taken for granted by the people who are awake during the day, then you got a show that's live for you. And Foss hosts that each Saturday. Check it out. Notice he's got a link in here for Sharon's Give, Send, Go. So, crap, I guess I clicked on it. Nope, I clicked on this video. But if you're interested in helping out financially, someone who's dealing with cancer and has issues with the, you know how it is with bills and whatnot, she's trying to raise another couple of tens of thousands of bucks, maybe another $12,000, I think, last time I looked. So as capitalists, we probably have money. It's the thing that we use to interact with each other as far as goods and services go. So if you've got an extra $5 or an extra $20 and you'd like to see that go to helping somebody out who's been an activist for a long time in the state of Washington, and you'd like to exercise that muscle, then find that link. We've got it posted on my X. It's also on most of Foss's video links. And check that out. It's on the platform Give, Send, Go. And eventually I'll get back down to where we stopped. This is the downside of actually accidentally clicking on something when I do it this way, is that it takes forever to get the screen back to where I came from. All right, so after the mouse party, I guess before the mouse party, technically, Hillbilly does his show on Saturday evenings. Normally I have a link to Brooke Cheney's Mental Health Matters show on Saturday, where she focuses on the 2 out of every 3 deaths with a firearm that are from suicide, and normalizing conversation on suicide prevention and on mental health awareness, again, so that we can have better conversations with ourselves and with those people that want to take our guns and our property and our rights. So thanks to Brooke for doing that each week. And I don't know why it didn't show up on my list here. I might have watched it on my phone probably. And it just doesn't all show up here when I do it that way. Then we've got Gun Owners of America talking with Massey, and that's where I pulled that clip. About halfway in, maybe 3/4. Actually, it's right when they're about to end it, is when Massey makes that point that calling the senators is a massive deal. I think they say, how does it go? Sending an email or signing a petition online is better than nothing. It lets them know that there's people out there with an opinion. Making a phone call is worth a little bit more because you had to do a little bit more effort. Writing a letter is worth a little bit more because you have to do a little bit more effort. Then how's it go? Writing a letter and then showing up. So in the hierarchy of things, the phone call is better than most of the other things we have the ability to do from our homes. And it's a lot of significance. It's a lot of power. And it's as simple as a phone call. So Gun Owners of America, I often bitch that they're always defaulting to the lawsuits. And in this case, definitely not true. I wish they'd clip out that little piece and just put it out there everywhere, that phone calls are so valuable, especially to our senators. Our representatives, it's tough to influence representatives with phone calls because they can hide in the bureaucracy. Senators, there's only 2 of them. So it's only 2 phone calls to make, and it's only 2 people to influence. And, of course, there's going to be people that say, well, my senator can't be influenced. There's the muscle that you create by doing that. And people don't give credit to the influence that understanding they're working against their constituents has. Now, of course, they're not just going to go, oh, our constituents don't like everything we do, I'm going to walk away. No, that's not how it works. But if they understand that every single thing they're doing has a significant resistance from their constituents, they're going to understand that they're not, it's going to weigh on them at some point. So you can either understand that you can have influence there, or let them take the whole fucking thing and just say, oh, they're untouchable. They're so strong that my influence can't do anything. And I'm not of that mindset, but you're welcome to that mindset, I suppose, if you want. It's a free country. I don't think you're limited to that. You are able to call those senators, even if it seems like an uphill battle. It's unwinnable. Well, at this point, we're getting to last week, and that's what we do the show every week for, so we don't have to do more than a week at a time. So that's pretty much the stuff we got going on over there. If there were more people interacting, we might have taken a look at the poll, or we might have taken a look at the Substack where I posted some stuff this week. But I don't do this for any other reason other than to have some interactivity with other people who may or may not be activists out there. And except for Krabby Turtle and Mike White, nobody's saying nothing. So I got no interest in sticking around and just saying stuff to my wall. So I'm going to run this one into the ground. If you are sitting there going, oh man, then you should have said something, because this is an interactive show. With that, thanks everybody for joining us. And if you're listening to this in the future, show up live and be part of the show. Next week I'll have it in the correct studio, so I'll have better things to click on here.
Cheat. Ninja? Ninja! Ninja!
It's 11:59 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.